Hello friends! I have a little haul for you guys today. This is stuff that I've been accumulating over the last, I don't know, year or so, and I just never really talked about. Some of them I've made videos for, some of them I haven't, so just bear with me. I'm gonna start with the least expensive and then move on to the more expensive stuff. And I do have a grand finale for you guys at the end. But anyways. First thing is a jumbo marker. I saw this on Dollarama. It is a nice, thick boy. I don't really know why. I just thought it would be a lot of fun. But then I realized it's actually great for blocking in large areas with black or just creating like dark backgrounds very quickly. So it comes in handy. Next up, also from Dollarama, is this bullet journal. Now, I don't have a demo for this one because I haven't started it because I already have a bullet journal that I'm using right now and I'm like barely in the beginning of it. But it was only $3.50, so I couldn't not get it. And it's got this like material sort of texture, and the back is kind of like this, like the glue is exposed. So when you open it, it actually does sit pretty flat. We'll see eventually when I get to it if it actually works well, but $3.50 is amazing. Next up is also from Dollarama, and this is just a sticky note set. It looks like this. Honestly, I don't think that it's that cute, but I'm using it in my current bujo just to add some color, and I do intend on doing more mixed media stuff, so I'm thinking of using it when I do that in like more journal type stuff. It's good to just rip up and just throw on, so I'm not mad at it. I think it was $1.25, so can't go wrong. Okay, this is a little bit of a cop out, but this is a glue stick. I wanted to mention it because it's good for my bujo, so I've been using it a lot in my bullet journal to add little mixed media stuff in, and I'm also using it in my sketchbooks whenever I want to like glue stuff down and be creative. So yeah, got a glue stick. Fantastic, very riveting content. Also from Dollarama, I got the sketchbook, and I kind of regret it because it's literally falling apart at the seams. I've had to glue it down with tape. And these are just the first few pages, like come on, you can see it's just completely falling apart. I just wanted to have something simple to sketch with, but I don't think that this is gonna make it very far. I mean, I'm still gonna figure out a way to use the paper, no problem, probably in like a junk journal or something, but I'm kind of disappointed because I really like the cover, and it was only, okay, it's $2.50. That's actually not that cheap for something that's literally falling apart at the seams. Ugh. Mistakes were made. Okay, next up is these boards. They're like the fake wood boards. They're very sturdy and quite thick. I wanted to get them so that I could tape down like a watercolor piece and then be able to like move it around the surface, and also just to be able to put something underneath to cut with like X-Acto knives. But then I realized that this would actually look really good as like a canvas for like acrylic paint. It's like a good size, and you could just put it on your wall. And it wasn't very expensive for what, six of them? Yeah. So that's fun. Okay, next up I wanted to mention this thing. It's a reusable grocery bag that's sitting on top of a picture frame, and I made this for when I was making my homemade DIY paper video, and I don't really think I'm ever going to make paper again, to be honest. It was way too difficult, but I was thinking maybe I could use this and like embroider on top of it and put it on my wall as decoration. It's like an interesting concept I might explore. Okay, so that ends the Dollarama haul. Next up is AliExpress brushes. These are detail brushes. They're very small, and they're not too bad for the price. I think it was like $6 or something like that. They're quite springy, which I appreciate. This bigger one is kind of like the one that sucks. But then the rest of them actually do pretty well. So I'm liking them. They get the job done. Next up are some liner brushes. Brush pens, actually. So this is the Pastel pocket brush. It's got like a very genuine brush tip, so you can make very delicate lines with this thing, as opposed to these Tombow liners. They have like the felt tip, I don't really know, but they're very sturdy. Both good for different things. I like these a lot more for when I want to draw very quickly for watercolor because they dry very fast. This one, I feel like the lines look a lot more natural, but I do find that you gotta let this bad boy dry on the paper for quite a while. I like to do it overnight just to make sure that the watercolor doesn't lift anything, 100%, but it's not very like time effective, so it's good to have both. Okay, next up we have the plastic palette that I specifically bought for my Himi gouaches, so I wanted to make a separate palette where I could have them dry and pull out and use. It's a lot more like space effective because the Himi palette is so big. This way I can like make sure that I actually use them instead of forgetting that I have them half the time. But this palette was from Amazon. It was like, I want to say $12 or something like that. And it works pretty well. I like that it has so many wells, and I like that this part comes out. It's pretty nice. Next up, we have these two cuties. Look at them. I found these at a small like Asian goods store a few years ago. It's this notebook and it's got two kitties on them. It's really cute. I don't know what it says at the bottom here, but in English it says, "I'm always trying to seek you," which is really cute. And then the smile pen. I really like how the tip is pointed. The only downside is that the lid doesn't fit in the back, which is annoying, but that's okay. I took this notebook and I turned it into a Commonplace notebook, which just means I have quotes in here from everywhere. Podcasts, books, just things that people have said to me. Let's see if I can show you something that's not cringy. This one is from the Piper Blue YouTube channel. It's by Lilith, and she said, "I shall try to see many things," and I really like that. There's also this, "Dawn is for Lovers and Bakers," from Modern Love episode 2. That was really cute. Then there's this. "Grief, I've learned, is really just love. It's all the love that you want to give but cannot. All of that unspent love gathers up in the corners of your eyes, the lump in your throat, and in that hollow part of your chest. Grief is just love with no place to go," by Jamie Anderson, and I saw it on Insta of a tweet. This is another one of my favorites. "A pedestal is as much a prison as any other small space." This one's also really good. "Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you while still loving myself." This one's probably one of my favorites. I still have a lot to go, like I haven't filled it up at all, and I really want to get better about that. I really love the idea of having this. All right, what else do I have here? These are the Ohuhu Pastel markers. I've barely used these on camera. I think I used them to make my, I used it in my like first ever bullet journal setup video, and I drew the September, or maybe not, maybe it was a different, but I drew a cover page. Maybe it wasn't in that video, never mind. But yeah, these are the pastels. They're quite pretty, and I wanted to get this because I have another set of alcohol markers, but they were quite dark, so I wanted to get a set that was lighter because you can only build up on alcohol markers, right? But they aren't actually as bright as I thought they would be. I don't know where the swatching cards are. Now I'm upset. Oh, they're here. Here, these are all the colors. they're not too bad, but they're not like my favorite. And there's like a couple of neon ones that I'm like not that crazy about, but I can't wait to use these more. Okay, this next thing, I still cannot believe that I bought. It was an absolutely ridiculous purchase, but they are the James Lewis brushes. If you don't know who James Lewis is, he's like a artist, and he does very like cool, like precision paintings. So these are like very kind of straight brushes that he sold, and I swear to God, I like must have blacked out when I bought these because I saw like 2 of his videos on Instagram. Next thing I know, I was clicking his discount link and buying these. I think it was like $60 for 3 of these, which is not terrible for quality brushes, but the problem is that like I don't really paint in that style ever. I don't have use for these most of the time, unless like I'm doing very thin, precise lines. They're still cool to have around, and they're very like obviously quality brushes, but I don't know why. Why did I do that? I could have bought like good watercolor brushes with that money. I did finally try the biggest one for this video, and it does actually hold a good amount of water, so I could probably use it in more of my watercolor paintings for some interesting lines. I don't really know. I do kind of regret it now, but there's no going back, so oopsie. Okay, so I did actually make a video on this recently, but I bought the drawing ink collection from Winsor & Newton. It's the black, white, and metallic set, and they're pretty good drawing inks. And because I bought these, I also had to show my papers. So I have this black mixed media paper from Strathmore, and the inks do pretty well on here. So I'm kind of happy because I haven't really had a lot of uses for this thing so far. And then I also have the tan mixed media paper from Strathmore, and the inks are also okay on here, but they're not my favorite. I have tried this with watercolor before. It's also not my favorite, so I'm kind of like confused as to how I'm gonna use this paper, but we'll see. It wasn't cheap either. I think both of these were like around $15 to $20 each, so yeah. Oh yeah, but for this set, I actually also had to buy well, I didn't have to. I never have to buy anything, but I have to, you know what I mean? I bought some dip pens. So it's been fun to play around with these. If you want to know more about, you know, the inks and this, you can check out my video on it. I'll link it. Next up, I have some sketchbooks. I made a video on this recently too, but this is the Arteza sketchbook. It's double-sided, and it's pretty good watercolor paper. I just don't really know if I like the ring bound thing in the middle. I feel like it just like separates the pages a little too much, and like I can never do a full page one, so that's kind of disappointing, but that's all right. And then to go with this, I also have another sketchbook that I've never started. It's a travel sketchbook. It's very small. Here, size comparison. And I bought this because I wanted to do like more plein air or urban sketches outside in the spring/summer, and then I never did it because I am trash sometimes. So hopefully this upcoming spring I will bust out this bad boy. But it's so cute, and it's pink. Oh, ooh. And it has a little pocket in the back. How cute! It's like the smallest pocket ever. I don't know why I'm so excited. I literally never use these things. Okay, the next thing that I bought is this mic that I'm currently using right now. I know that it's not technically an art supply, but it does make my video sound better, I think. Let me know what you think. Let me know if the quality's good in the comments. But yeah, I had to make this purchase. I felt very like fancy, like a YouTuber. So I thought I would include it. And then now we have made it to the grand finale, you guys. This is kind of embarrassing and kind of unhinged too, but I bought something. I must have been out of my goddamn mind. It is the perfect sketchbook from Etcher. You don't understand how expensive this thing is, and also Etcher doesn't offer free shipping to me in Canada. So just like, you can just take a guess on how much this cost. You don't have to guess, I'll tell you. It was $80. Yeah. It's still in its packaging because I do not dare use this thing. I don't know what came over me. It's like, why would my art noob ass buy this? Anyways, let me take it out for you guys. I literally open this like every few months just to look at it, and then I put it right back on the shelf. Oh, it's this really nice, I think, faux leather cover. It's just got the engraving here on the back. It says limited edition. I feel so fancy. 2020. Yep, 2020. And then you open it and it's just this gorgeous paper. It's so thick, you guys. I cannot stress this enough. The first page has like that thing. I was actually really like, I was like surprised. The first page is like glued to it kind of, which is annoying. But anyways, I think this is Fabiano paper in like the highest form, or I don't really know. I forgot at this point, but it's just very high quality paper, and I'm not good enough to paint anything in this thing. I mean, like, this thing smells expensive. I've been trying to get better about using my like fancy art supplies, because what's the point of hoarding them, really? Like, it's so stupid. But this thing is an exception. There is nothing I feel confident enough to draw in here. The day I finally do crack into this bad boy is the day I am announcing to the world that I am an artiste. Mwah. But yeah, I have this thing that just sits on my shelf and collects dust and looks pretty, and I look at it once in a blue mood. There isn't even that many pages either, so every page is like, what, $2, maybe more. I'll use you one day. One day, me and you. All right, that's enough. This concludes my little art haul. I've been hoarding supplies like a little chipmunk for many months, so it's actually pretty nice to share them with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to appease the algorithm gods, please like this video. It'll help me out a lot. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye!